Ambassador Raina Patel stared at the holographic invitation floating above her desk, her morning tea completely forgotten. The artificial intelligence of the Galactic Council, represented by a crystalline geometric form, had just finished delivering what had to be the most absurd proposal she'd heard in her 5 years as Earth's representative. "Let me get this straight," Raina said, leaning back in her chair. "The Council wants Earth to participate in what amounts to an extreme survival competition across various deadly planets." "Correct, Ambassador," the AI replied, its form shifting in gentle patterns. "The Galactic Survival Championship is held every 1,000 cycles. Species from across known space compete to demonstrate their survival capabilities in increasingly challenging environments." Raina couldn't help but smile. After years of trying to convince the galactic community that humans weren't fragile creatures needing protection, this was perfect. And these environments include what you classify as Deathworlds. Indeed, though I should note that no species has ever survived beyond a Class 7 environment. Classes 8 through 13 remain theoretical challenges, included only for completeness. Raina's smile widened into a grin. She reached for her comm unit, already knowing exactly who to call. "Commander Kai Yoshida, remember that conversation we had about showing the galaxy what humans are really capable of? I've got something that might interest you." 2 weeks later, Raina stood in the massive briefing room at the United Earth Defense Force headquarters, facing the most unconventional team ever assembled for a galactic competition. Commander Kai Yoshida, a veteran of Mars colony crisis response, was checking his equipment with methodical precision. Next to him, Diana Rodriguez, the famous climate adaptation specialist, was excitedly discussing survival strategies with Aidan O'Brien, whose groundbreaking work in extreme environment agriculture had transformed Venus colony food production. "So," Raina addressed the team, "the qualifying rounds begin next week. The Council expects us to struggle with their Class 1 and 2 environments. They've actually provided us with survival suits for basic challenges." She gestured to the high-tech environmental suits delivered by the Council. Diana picked one up and examined it with professional curiosity. "These are meant for a Class 1 environment. What exactly does the Council consider Class 1? "A warm savanna with temperatures reaching 30 degrees Celsius, moderate predator presence, and occasional weather events," Raina replied, trying to keep a straight face. The room erupted in laughter. Aidan wiped tears from his eyes. "So, a nice spring day in Australia." "More or less," Raina grinned. "But here's the interesting part. Most competing species consider this seriously challenging. The Vulgarians, for instance, are sending a team equipped with cooling suits and predator deterrent fields." Kai was already packing the Council's survival suits away. "We won't need these. Standard expedition gear will be fine for anything up to Class 4, at least. Though," he paused thoughtfully, "we might want to bring some extras." "Extras?" Raina raised an eyebrow. "Beach chairs, portable grill, maybe some sports equipment." Diana chimed in, catching Kay's drift. "If we're going to treat this like the vacation it is, might as well do it properly." The next few days were a flurry of preparation, though not the kind the Council might have expected. While other species were conducting survival drills and testing emergency equipment, Earth's team was planning barbecue menus and discussing which games would be most appropriate for different environments. The day before departure, Raina received another visit from the Council Eye. "Ambassador, we've noticed your team's unusual preparation approach. Are you certain you understand the serious nature of this competition?" Raina smiled diplomatically. "Oh, we understand perfectly. In fact, we're looking forward to showing everyone just how well humans can adapt to different environments. Though I do have one question. Are there any regulations against providing assistance to other competing teams?" The eye's form flickered in what Raina had learned to recognize as confusion. "No. Historically, survival challenges have been so demanding that cooperation between species was considered impossible." "Excellent," Raina replied, already imagining the chaos her team was about to unleash on the galaxy's carefully ordered understanding of survival. In that case, I believe we're ready to proceed. As she watched her team board the transport ship the next morning, each member carrying not just survival gear, but items that would look more at home at a beach resort, Reyna couldn't help but think that this competition was about to become something the galaxy would never forget. The humans weren't just going to survive. They were going to turn every Deathworld into their own personal paradise, and maybe teach the galaxy a thing or two about what it really means to adapt. The qualifying rounds began on what the Council classified as a Class 1 Deathworld. As the massive transport ships descended through the atmosphere, dozens of alien species huddled nervously in their environmental suits, checking and rechecking their survival gear. Meanwhile, the human team was changing into shorts and light shirts. Current temperature is 32 degrees Celsius, announced the Council Eye's voice through the ship's speakers. Conditions are considered severely challenging. Please ensure all protective measures are in place before disembarkation. Diana Rodriguez adjusted her sun hat and looked around at the other competitors. The Murith delegation, covered in thick thermal regulation suits, was staring at the humans in horror. Should we tell them they're going to overheat in those suits? She whispered to Kai. Give it time, he replied, slinging a colorful beach bag over his shoulder. They'll figure it out. As the ships landed and the competition officially began, the contrast between the human approach and everyone else's couldn't have been more striking. While other species frantically erected protective shelters and set up survival equipment, the Earth team strolled out onto the savanna-like landscape, found a nice spot near a water source, and began setting up what looked suspiciously like a picnic. Aiden unfolded a portable grill, humming to himself as he unpacked various food items. Anyone fancy some burger? I brought both synthetic and traditional options. A tall, crystalline being from the Thylaxian Empire approached their camp, its environmental shield humming with power. Excuse me, it communicated through a translator, but are you not concerned about the harsh conditions? Our sensors indicate dangerous levels of solar radiation and atmospheric pressure. Oh, this. Diana gestured at the sunny landscape. This is nothing. You should see Death Valley back on Earth during summer. Now that's what I call harsh conditions. She paused, noting the Thylaxian's confused posture. Would you like to join us for lunch? We got plenty to share. The first day set the tone for everything that followed. The human team treated each survival challenge like a casual outdoor excursion, complete with impromptu cookouts and games. They began offering survival tips to other species, but in the most human way possible, over shared meals and friendly conversations. When they reached the Class 2 environment, a dense jungle with heavy rainfall and aggressive local fauna, other teams were shocked to find the humans had already set up a comfortable base camp, complete with hammocks and a covered cooking area. The secret, Kai explained to a group of fascinated aliens as he demonstrated basic shelter-building techniques, is working with the environment, not against it. Your high-tech shelters are actually making things harder than they need to be. The Galactic Council observers were baffled. Their data showed the humans weren't just surviving. They were thriving. More surprisingly, their presence was improving the performance of other teams. Species that had never before passed Class 2 challenges were making it through, largely thanks to the humans' unexpectedly collaborative approach. I don't understand, one council observer confided to Reyna. Your team treats these lethal environments like tourist destinations. They're organizing social gatherings in conditions that should require maximum survival focus. Reyna watched as Diana taught a group of Murith how to weave local vegetation into basic rain protection. Have you considered that maybe this is our survival strategy? Humans don't just survive by gritting our teeth and enduring. We adapt, we build communities, we find ways to make hostile environments feel like home. The Class 3 challenge brought them to an Arctic environment, with temperatures well below freezing and dangerous predators. The human team's response. They organized an interspecies snow sculpture contest and set up a hot chocolate station. "This is madness," declared a Bulgarian observer, watching as Aiden taught a group of heat-loving Solarians how to build snow shelters. "They're treating the survival competition like some sort of holiday resort. Yet their approach is showing unprecedented results," another observer noted. "Look at the survival rates. We've never had so many teams make it past Class 2, and the psychological wellness readings are off the charts." As the teams prepared to move on to Class 4, something unprecedented was happening. Other species were beginning to imitate the human approach, modifying their survival gear to be more comfortable rather than just protective, setting up communal areas in their camps, and even attempting to cook meals instead of relying on survival rations. "I think we might have started something," Kai remarked one evening, watching as a group of aliens attempted to roast marshmallows over a carefully controlled plasma fire. "This isn't just about survival anymore." "It never was," Raina replied, accepting a mug of hot chocolate from Diana. "We're showing them what humans learned ages ago. That survival isn't just about staying alive. It's about finding ways to live, really live, no matter where you are." As they prepared for the higher class challenges, word was spreading through the galaxy about the strange human approach to survival. Footage of their casual mastery of deadly environments was going viral across alien social networks. The galaxy was beginning to realize that perhaps they had underestimated these weird beings from Earth, not because of their technology or their strength, but because of their unique ability to make themselves at home in hell itself. The Class 4 environment was where things were supposed to get serious. The planet featured rapidly shifting tectonic plates, unpredictable weather patterns, and an atmosphere that could turn acidic with little warning. The Council observers waited expectantly for the human team to finally show some concern. Instead, they watched in disbelief as Commander Kai Yoshida set up what appeared to be a weather monitoring station disguised as a tiki bar. "The key to dealing with acid rain," Diana explained to a group of nervous competitors while setting up protective awnings, "is treating it like any other weather inconvenience. You prepare for it, yes, but you don't let it stop you from living." Aiden had already started experimenting with the local vegetation, which had evolved to thrive in the harsh conditions. "These plants have amazing properties," he announced, showing his findings to a fascinated group of xenobiologists from various teams. "With some modifications, we could use them to neutralize the acid content in the air around our settlements." The Council's chief observer, a towering Nixilian named Zix 427, approached Raina with visible confusion. "Ambassador, we're detecting signs of celebration from your team's sector during a Class 4 challenge." "Oh, yes," Raina nodded, checking her datapad. "They're hosting what they call a survival skills mixer, teaching other teams how to build emergency shelters from local materials, but making it fun. Would you like to join? I hear Aiden's discovered some local fruits that, when properly treated, make excellent cocktails." The Class 4 challenge marked a turning point in the competition. The human team's base camp had evolved into something between a survival school and a resort, with teams from across the galaxy coming to learn and, surprisingly, relax. Their sector had the highest survival rate and, more remarkably, the highest morale. When they moved to the Class 5 environment, a volcanic wasteland with rivers of lava and toxic gas eruptions, the humans actually seemed excited. Kai pulled out specialized equipment that looked suspiciously like modified surfing gear. "You can't be serious," a Drachnid survivor specialist gasped, watching as Diana and Kai tested their heat-resistant boards on a lava flow. "Actually, we are," Diana replied, adjusting her protective suit. "Understanding lava flow patterns is crucial for survival here. Plus, it's fun. Want to learn? We've got spare boards." The human team's approach was having unexpected effects on the competition itself. Species that had historically been rivals were now collaborating, sharing resources, and even socializing. The Council's data showed unprecedented improvements in survival rates, but also in interspecies relations. "They're changing the very nature of the competition," one Council member observed during an emergency session. This was meant to test survival capabilities, not turn deadly environments into tourist attractions. But isn't that the ultimate form of survival? Another countered. The ability to not just exist, but thrive. As they prepared for Class 6, rumors spread about what the humans might do next. Their reputation had grown to almost mythical proportions. Stories circulated about their casual mastery of environments that had historically been considered unsurvivable. The Class 6 challenge brought them to a world of crushing pressure and perpetual darkness. The human response. They organized a bioluminescence appreciation party, using modified deep-sea exploration techniques from Earth's oceans to turn the lethal pressure into an advantage. You know what this reminds me of? Iden said, setting up lights that mimic the patterns of deep-sea creatures from Earth. The Mariana Trench research stations. Similar pressure, better view though. The other teams were beginning to understand something fundamental about humans. It wasn't just their physical adaptability that made them remarkable. It was their psychological approach. Where others saw Deathworlds, they saw opportunities. Where others focused on survival, they created communities. Even the Council Eye was showing signs of adjusting its parameters. We're detecting unusual patterns in the human sector, it reported. They appear to be installing recreational facilities in a Class 6 death world. Correct, Reyna confirmed. They're teaching other teams how to use the high pressure to their advantage. Something about extreme sports opportunities. As they approached the final stages of the competition, the galaxy was beginning to ask different questions. It wasn't just about how humans could survive in these environments. It was about what they could teach others about turning survival into living. The Council found itself facing an unexpected philosophical question. If humans could turn death worlds into vacation spots, were they really death worlds at all? Or was it all just a matter of perspective? Meanwhile, the human team was preparing for the Class 7 challenges with their usual unorthodox approach. Kai was reviewing plans for what he called an extreme environment adventure park. Diana was developing new teaching modules for hostile environment adaptation, and Aiden was experimenting with ways to turn deadly local phenomena into renewable energy sources. You do realize the next level is theoretically unsurvivable. Zix 427 mentioned to Reyna during a preparation briefing. Reyna smiled, watching her team pack what appeared to be party supplies along with their survival gear. You know what humans say about theories, don't you? They're meant to be tested, preferably with good company and better food. The Class 7 environment was where everything changed. No species had ever survived it, let alone thrived in it. The planet was a nightmare of quantum instabilities, where reality itself seemed to flicker and bend. The very laws of physics were unreliable, changing from moment to moment. The Council had included it in the competition purely as a theoretical challenge. They hadn't expected anyone to actually attempt it. Perfect conditions for a physics-defying party, Aiden declared, studying the readings from their initial scans. The human team stood at their deployment point, watching reality ripple around them like heat waves off hot asphalt. You can't be serious. The Council Eye's voice carried genuine alarm. The environmental conditions are beyond survivable parameters. Reality cohesion is at critical levels. Kai was already unpacking equipment that looked suspiciously like modified quantum stabilizers. You know what this reminds me of? That time we had to stabilize the Mars colony during the quantum storm of '89. Remember those reality bubbles we created for the emergency shelters? Diana nodded, making adjustments to what appeared to be a portable reality anchor. Except here, we don't have to worry about maintaining a specific version of physics. We can work with the fluctuations instead. The other competing species watched in stunned silence as the humans began setting up what they called a quantum surfing base camp. Instead of fighting against the reality fluctuations, they were using them to their advantage, creating stable pockets of space-time that actually benefited from the surrounding chaos. The trick, Diana explained to a group of bewildered observers, is to stop thinking of unstable reality as a problem and start seeing it as a feature. Each fluctuation creates new possibilities. Within hours, the human team had established not just a survival post, but what they termed a quantum observation resort. They were using the reality fluctuations to create incredible light shows, generate unique gravitational effects for entertainment, and even establish what Aidan called probability pools, areas where the uncertain physics created fascinating recreational opportunities. Word spread quickly through the galactic community. The humans weren't just surviving in a Class 7 death world, they were turning it into a tourist attraction. The council was flooded with requests from various species asking to observe the human team's methods. This defies all known survival protocols. Zix 427 stated, watching as the humans taught other species how to ride reality waves. They're treating quantum instability like it's some sort of amusement park feature. Reyna, who had joined her team on site, smiled as she watched Kai demonstrate how to use a quantum fluctuation to create a zero-gravity dance floor. You're still thinking in terms of survival. We passed that point long ago. This isn't about surviving anymore. It's about showing the galaxy how to live anywhere. The Council's emergency sessions became more frequent. The humans weren't just breaking records. They were breaking paradigms. Their success in the Class 7 environment forced a fundamental reassessment of what constituted a death world. They're not just adapting to these environments, one council member observed. They're adapting the environments to themselves and then teaching others to do the same. As the team prepared for the theoretical Class 8 challenge, something unprecedented occurred. Species that had never participated in the survival competition began requesting inclusion. The event was transforming from a test of endurance into a galactic cultural exchange. We're going to need a bigger base camp, Aidan commented, reviewing the growing list of species requesting to learn human survival techniques, and maybe more quantum-stabilized barbecue grills. The Class 8 environment presented a planet where time itself was unstable, with random temporal shifts and causality loops. The Council expected this to finally be too much, even for the humans. Instead, Kai simply pulled out temporal anchoring equipment that looked suspiciously like modified party lighting. You know what this means. He grinned at his teammates. We can literally make this party timeless. Diana was already drafting plans for what she called temporal tourism guidelines. Think about it. We can create stable time pockets for different activities, sync them up for maximum efficiency, and even use the temporal shifts to optimize our teaching programs. As they set up their latest impossible resort, Reyna received an urgent communication from the Council. Ambassador. The AI's voice seemed almost resigned. We're detecting signs of, is that a chronologically synchronized dance party? Oh yes, Reyna confirmed, watching as her team taught various alien species how to safely navigate temporal anomalies, while simultaneously organizing what they called a time-warped talent show. The humans, the AI noted, appear to be systematically dismantling every preconception we had about survival in extreme environments. Not dismantling, Reyna corrected, reimagining. There's a difference between surviving and living and humans. We choose to live every time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I believe it's my turn to demonstrate how to surf a temporal wave. The final stages of the competition bore little resemblance to its original concept, as the human team prepared to face the Class 9 environment, a realm of pure energy where matter itself was theoretical. The event had evolved into something unprecedented in galactic history. The Council's observation chamber was packed with representatives from every known spacefaring civilization. They weren't just watching a survival competition anymore. They were witnessing a revolution in how species approached hostile environments. Welcome to Phase Shift Paradise, Kai announced as their team established what should have been impossible, a stable existence in an energy-only environment. Their solution: converting their entire base camp into a quantum energy construct that existed in multiple states simultaneously. The secret, Diana explained to a fascinated group of energy-based life forms who had come to observe, is to stop thinking in terms of limitations. Pure energy isn't a constraint, it's an opportunity. Aidan had already started experimenting with what he called energy cuisine, finding ways to create satisfying experiences for both matter-based and energy-based life forms. It's all about understanding that survival means different things to different species, he explained, serving what appeared to be solidified light garnished with quantum fluctuations. The Class 10 challenge brought them to a dimension where consciousness itself was part of the environmental equation. Thoughts could alter reality, and dreams could become physical hazards. The Council expected chaos. Instead, they watched in amazement as the humans turned it into an unprecedented opportunity for interspecies connection. Think of it as the ultimate social network, Raina explained to the Council, as her team set up what they called a mindscape mixer. When consciousness shapes reality, what better way to understand each other than to literally share our perspectives? The human base camp became a hub where different species could safely experience each other's way of perceiving reality. They organized consciousness exchanges, where participants could briefly experience how other species viewed the universe. What was meant to be a survival challenge transformed into the galaxy's most innovative cultural exchange program. As they approached the final challenges, something remarkable happened. Species that had once considered Earth the Death World began requesting permission to visit. The term Death World itself was being reevaluated across galactic society. "We've been measuring survival wrong," a council member announced during an emergency session. "The humans haven't just survived these environments. They've shown us that our entire concept of survival was too limited." The Class 11 and 12 environments, realms of abstract mathematics and pure probability, became sites for what the humans called possibility parties and quantum carnivals. They treated logical impossibilities as mere suggestions and turned mathematical anomalies into tourist attractions. The final challenge, Class 13, was barely recognizable as a competition. The humans had transformed it into a galactic festival of adaptation and innovation. Species that had never been able to communicate found common ground in human-designed interaction spaces. Ancient rivals discovered shared interests over quantum-stabilized refreshments. "I think we might have accidentally started a revolution," Diana remarked to Kai, watching as a group of traditionally hostile species collaborated on building what they called a pan-dimensional playground. "Not accidentally," Raina corrected, reviewing the latest diplomatic requests flooding her terminal. "This is who we are. Humans don't just adapt to survive. We adapt to live, to thrive, and to help others do the same." The competition's closing ceremony was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Instead of declaring winners, the Council found itself ratifying a new set of principles for interspecies cooperation and environmental adaptation. The human approach, treating challenges as opportunities and turning survival situations into chances for growth and connection, was being adopted across the galaxy. "We came here to prove humans could survive anywhere," Kai addressed the assembled galactic representatives. "But we ended up proving something more important, that together, we can turn any environment into a home." The legacy of the competition extended far beyond its original scope. Earth, once considered a death world, became known as the cradle of a species that had fundamentally changed how the galaxy approached hostile environments. The term human approach entered the galactic lexicon, meaning to face impossible challenges with innovation, adaptability, and an inexplicable desire to organize social gatherings in the face of certain doom. Years later, as Raina watched ships from across the galaxy arrive at Earth for the first interspecies survival festival, she couldn't help but smile. The humans hadn't just won a competition, they'd changed the rules of the game entirely. "You know what the best part is?" she asked the Council Eye, which had become a regular visitor to Earth. "We're just getting started. Wait until they see what we've planned for next year's festival." "Let me guess," the Eye replied, its tone carrying what almost sounded like amusement. "It involves turning another impossible environment into a tourist destination." "Naturally," Raina grinned. "After all, that's what humans do best. We take the impossible, add some good company and better food, and turn it into home. Now, who's up for some quantum surfing?"